Good evening, and welcome to the Somnolent Archive. Tonight, we are going to walk very slowly through the quiet markets of ancient Alexandria, at the edge of Egypt, where the Mediterranean breathes against the harbour stones, and the last light of day rests on folded linen, clay jars, papyrus rolls, and baskets of fruit. There is no hurry in this place tonight, only the soft turning of water against wooden hulls. Only the low murmur of merchants closing their stalls. Only the warm scent of oil lamps, bread ovens, salt air, and crushed herbs drifting through the streets. Alexandria was a city made for arrival. It stood near the western edge of the Nile Delta, facing the sea, with Egypt behind it and the wide Mediterranean before it. Ships came from Greek islands, from Phoenician ports, from Cyprus, from the coasts of Syria, from far western harbours, and from routes that connected, slowly and indirectly, to Arabia, India, and the Red Sea. But tonight, we do not need to follow every route on the map. We can simply imagine the harbour in the hour before sleep. The sky is deepening from gold to violet. Along the waterfront, the great lighthouse of Pharos rises in the distance, pale and enormous, its upper fire beginning to glow against the evening. It is not a harsh light. From where we stand, it is only a steady flame, softened by sea mist, showing the way to sailors who have spent many days listening to the creak of rope and the answering sound of waves. At the quay, ships rest close together. Some are broad-bellied merchant vessels, heavy with amphorae of oil or wine. Some carry sacks of grain from the Nile Valley, where the black earth has given another season of wheat. Some bring fragrant resins, purple cloth, glassware, spices, timber, wool, and small luxuries that pass from hand to hand until they find a place in a house, a temple, a workshop, or a scholar's room. The ropes are thick and damp. The planks are worn smooth. The air holds the smell of salt, wet wood, fish, tar, and sun-warmed stone, releasing the day's heat. A sailor speaks softly to another sailor in Greek. Nearby, someone answers in Egyptian. A trader from the Eastern Sea lifts a crate and gives instructions in a different accent. The city listens to all of them, as it has always listened, absorbing language the way the harbour absorbs the tide. Alexandria is young, compared with the temples farther south along the Nile, but it has already become one of the great gathering places of the ancient world. Founded in the age of Alexander and shaped by the Ptolemies, it is a planned city of broad streets, colonnades, palaces, workshops, warehouses, shrines, gardens, and crowded neighborhoods. It is Greek and Egyptian, African and Mediterranean, royal and ordinary, scholarly and practical. And in the markets, all of this becomes touchable. So let us begin our walk. We leave the harbour slowly, passing beneath the shadow of a storehouse where jars are stacked in rows. The jars are sealed with clay. Some hold oil, some hold wine. Some may hold pickled fish, honey, or grain. A clerk sits nearby with a tablet and stylus, making marks that will matter tomorrow, though tonight his hand is tired and his lamp is nearly out. The stone underfoot is uneven in places, polished by wheels and sandals. A cart rolls by at a careful pace, carrying folded textiles covered with a linen cloth. The mule pulling it lowers its head and exhales. The driver gives no sharp command. It is late, and the city is beginning to soften. Ahead, the market streets open. By day, they would be filled with bargaining and calling, with the movement of porters, the rustle of fabric, the slap of fish on tables, the weighing of grain, the counting of coins, the talk of arrivals and delays. But we are entering in the gentler hour, when business has thinned and the market becomes more like a memory of itself. The awnings are still stretched overhead. They hold the fading warmth of the afternoon and smell faintly of dust, rope, and dyed wool. Between the stalls, oil lamps are being lit one by one. Small flames appear in bronze bowls and clay cups, making the fruit glow softly and throwing long shadows across baskets, scales, sandals, and folded mats. Here is a table of figs. They are dark and tender, arranged in shallow baskets lined with leaves. Beside them are dates, pomegranates, olives, and small bunches of grapes. A woman sits behind the table, her hair covered lightly, her hands resting in her lap. She has spent the day weighing fruit for passing customers, measuring with practiced fingers, knowing by sight what is ripe and what can wait until morning. She does not call out now. She only watches the street with calm eyes as the lamps are lit. A little farther on, there is a cellar of bread. The bread is stacked in flat rounds and small loaves, some dusted with flour, some darkened at the edge from the oven. The smell is warm and familiar. It belongs to no empire in particular. It belongs to hunger, answered gently. Behind the bread, an oven still holds a red interior glow. The baker has pushed the last embers to one side. A child sits on a low stool, almost asleep, leaning against a sack. The baker covers the remaining loaves with cloth, not hurriedly, but with the same motion he has made all his adult life. And nearby, a merchant folds linen. Egyptian linen is cool to the touch, pale, light, and valued across many lands. In the lamplight, the folded cloth looks like still water. The merchant smooths it once, then again, pressing the crease with his palm. Some lengths are plain and practical. Some are finer, meant for wealthier houses, for temple use, for careful dressing, for rooms where the stone floors are swept each morning and the air smells faintly of flowers and oil. There are colours here, but they are quiet at dusk. Ochre, ivory, deep blue, dry green, reddish clay, bronze, the black of olives, the soft gold of lamp flame. Nothing flashes, nothing demands. The market, which was bright and crowded at noon, now seems to be exhaling. We move slowly past jars of perfume and resin. Frankincense, myrrh, and other aromatic goods travel long routes before they reach a place like this. Their scents are not loud. They gather in the air in layers, sweet, bitter, woody, clean, almost dusty. A seller lifts the lid of a small container for a final customer. The fragrance rises, and for a moment, the market seems connected to dry hills, caravan paths, desert wells, and distant trees that release their sap beneath another sun. Then the lid is closed. The scent remains, but only faintly. In another stall, papyrus is stacked in rolls. Some are fresh and pale. Some have already been written on, tied, labelled, and carried from one office to another. Alexandria is a city of traders, but also a city of readers. The movement of goods is matched by the movement of words. Lists, contracts, poems, inventories, letters, royal notices, mathematical problems, ship records, philosophical arguments, and copied books all pass through human hands. A young scribe sits behind a small table, trimming the end of a reed pen. His fingers are stained. His shoulders are slightly bent. He has copied enough lines today that the shapes of letters may continue behind his eyes when he finally lies down. Beside him is a shallow dish of ink, a roll of papyrus, and a small weight to keep the sheet from curling. He looks up as we pass, not with surprise, but with the mild expression of someone who has been interrupted by the world after spending too long with words. Beyond him, through a break in the market roofs, we can see one of the broader streets of the city. Alexandria was laid out with intention. Its avenues could hold carts, horses, people, processions, and the steady movement of a capital. In the last light, the street seems to stretch toward the sea in one direction and toward the inner districts in another. Lamps mark doorways. Columns hold shadows. Somewhere, water moves through channels and pipes, bringing the practical miracle of daily life into houses and courtyards. The city is not silent. A sleeping city is never silent. But its sounds have changed. There is the low creak of a sign in the sea breeze, the soft clink of a balance scale being put away, the brushing sound of a broom over stone, the distant call of someone on the harbour, sandals passing, then fading, a donkey shifting its weight, a cup set down carefully, a laugh, brief and low, from behind a curtain, the murmur of a family eating its evening meal in a room above a shop. every sound is small enough to let go of. We turn into a narrower lane where the market becomes more specialized. Here, small objects are arranged on cloth: glass beads, bronze pins, carved amulets, shell inlays, little containers for cosmetics, lamps shaped by hand. The glass catches the lamplight like drops of colored water. The bronze has been touched by so many fingers that it seems almost warm before it is held. A jeweler closes a wooden box. An old man wraps a set of weights in cloth. A potter carries unsold bowls to the back of his stall, where they will wait in shadow until morning. The people here are not symbols in a history book. They are tired in the ordinary way. They have counted, lifted, swept, argued, eaten, waited, and watched the sky change. They have heard news from ships and rumors from inland roads. They have smelled rain before it arrived. They have known which customers always bargain, which sailors spend too quickly, which students from the scholarly quarter forget to eat until evening. For Alexandria is also a city of study. Not far from markets and warehouses are the places associated with learning. Collections of scrolls, scholars supported by royal patronage, rooms where men debate numbers, stars, medicine, poetry, geography, and the shapes of the world. The famous library and the Mausion belong to the grand story of Alexandria, but even the grand story depends on quiet hands. Someone must prepare the ink. Someone must smooth the papyrus. Someone must bring oil for the lamps. Someone must sell bread to the copyist, sandals to the messenger, fruit to the philosopher, wool to the servant, fish to the household, and rope to the sailor whose ship waits below the lighthouse. The market is the city's breath. It brings together the scholar and the baker, the captain and the clerk, the Egyptian priest and the Greek official, the linen seller and the foreign trader, the child sent to buy olives, the woman choosing herbs, the porter balancing a load, the old sailor who pauses to look toward the sea before turning home. And above all of them, evening continues to fall. Let us walk now toward the harbour again, taking a slower way, through a street where small shrines stand near doorways. Religion in Alexandria is layered. Greek gods, Egyptian gods, household gods, blended gods, remembered gods. Offerings are modest here at the edge of the market. A little oil, a flower, a pinch of incense, a small flame sheltered from the breeze. A priest passes in pale linen, walking without haste. A woman touches a doorway before entering her house. A merchant, finished for the day, pauses before a small figure in a niche. Perhaps he gives thanks for safe trade. Perhaps he asks for another day, much like this one, with ordinary customers, manageable accounts, and no storm in the harbour. The candle flame bends, then steadies. The street opens and the sea returns. Now the harbour lies darker than before. The ships are shapes against the water, and the water carries broken lines of reflected fire. The Pharos burns steadily in the distance. Its light does not belong to the market alone. It belongs to sailors still offshore, to pilots guiding ships through channels, to men on decks who are watching for stone, flame, and home. Along the quay, a few workers remain. They move slowly, finishing what must be finished. A coil of rope is placed beside a post. A crate is shifted under cover. A ledger is closed. A lamp is carried from one doorway to another, making a small circle of amber that travels over walls, hands, and the ground. The scents of the market are fading into the larger smell of night by the sea. Bread becomes smoke. Fruit becomes sweetness in the cool air. Resin becomes a trace at the edge of memory. Fish, salt, oil, linen, dust, and stone all settle into one quiet atmosphere. This is the hour when a city seems to remember itself, not as a monument, not as a map, not as a list of kings or buildings, but as 1,000 gentle motions repeated day after day. Opening shutters, lifting baskets, pouring grain, measuring oil, trimming reeds, folding cloth, lighting lamps, counting coins, closing boxes, walking home beneath the first stars. If you listen, you can almost hear the city becoming softer. The broad streets empty little by little. The market awnings stir in the breeze. a final customer buys a small round loaf and tucks it under one arm. A scribe blows gently across wet ink. A sailor sits on an overturned crate, looking at the lighthouse as if it were an old companion. Somewhere beyond the city, the Nile continues its long, dark movement through Egypt. Somewhere farther still, caravans rest under desert skies. Beyond the sea, other harbours are lighting their own lamps. But here, in Alexandria, the evening gathers everything into stillness. We can stay for a moment beside the water. The stone is cool now. The day's heat has left it. The waves touch the harbour wall and withdraw, touch and withdraw, patient and untroubled. A boat rocks slightly against its mooring. The rope tightens, then loosens. Tightens, then loosens. The rhythm is smaller than a song, but it is enough. Behind us, the quiet markets are nearly closed. The fruit is covered. The linen is folded. The lamps are low. The papyrus waits in shadow. The scales are still. And the city, which has spent the day receiving the world, lets the world drift gently away. So as the lighthouse glows over the harbour, and the moon rises somewhere beyond the roofs and columns, we leave ancient Alexandria to its night. We leave the merchants to their rest, the scribes to their dreams, the sailors to their hammocks, the scholars to their fading lamplight, and the market stones to the soft salt air. Nothing more is required now. Only the sound of water, only the last warmth of bread ovens, only the faint scent of resin and linen, only the old city breathing quietly beside the sea. And as the lamps grow smaller, and the harbour becomes a dark mirror beneath the ancient sky, you may let the scene loosen in your mind. The stalls can fade, the voices can soften, the streets can empty, the lighthouse can remain, distant and kind, keeping watch while everything else rests. Good night from the Somnolent Archive.